If you're making sales in your handmade business but still feel like you're not making money, this is probably why. So, a lot of handmade sellers are busy all day. They're packing orders, making products, but when they check the bank account, something just doesn't add up. And the worst part is, most people don't even realize what's actually going wrong. So, this is one of the most common traps in handmade businesses, whether that's candles, jewelry, stickers, loads. You're getting orders which feels like progress in your brain because things are moving, right? But profit and revenue are not exactly the same thing. So, you might sell a candle for $20, but after materials, fees, Etsy fees, tax, and most importantly, your time, because a lot of people don't count that in, you might actually be making $3 or even losing money. So, there are four main reasons as to why this happens. First one is underpricing products. Most handmade sellers price based on what feels right or what competitors charge, and competitors are not you, honey. So instead of basing it on actual costs, which should be the start, because most people feel like maybe they don't need to actually go through all of the math and figure out what they should charge. So they just go, Jessica is charging $25 for her lavender candles, so we'll do 23, which is completely wrong. Second, you're not tracking all of your costs. It's not just the wax. No, it's not just the wax. It's also your time. And it's also the fees that you pay for listing those candles. So it's all about, small materials, packaging, those inserts that you put in. Yeah, that's also your costs. And the printing on those inserts, that's costs too. Etsy fees, like mentioned before, Etsy fees, payment fees, these add up really fast. Even if you go to markets, you have a card reader, okay? And not to mention the market cost. You have a card reader, yeah, that's also costs you per tap. So you have to make sure to add all of that up. Otherwise, you're just either overcharging or undercharging yourself. And these do add up really fast. And they quietly eat your profit. Three, you're not accounting your time. Like mentioned before, people think, oh, but I can make 20 candles in like a few hours. Yeah, but like, what's that per candle? That's what you need to figure out. So, even if it takes you 2 hours to make something and you don't factor that in, that's you working for free, which you might think is fine, but you won't think it's fine when you break even on your costs and your profits. And four, you don't have a system. Your head is not a system. Your notepad, I'm sorry, it's not a system. Your Excel that has 20 tabs that you've started but didn't finish because it's like annoying to do, that's also not a system. It's not scalable. Systems need to be scalable. Is Excel scalable? Definitely not. It will break, and the formulas are really annoying to learn. So I would just highly recommend not using that because it's very annoying. So everything is either in your head, scattered across notes and spreadsheets, or Google Sheets. So you never get a clear picture. If you want to actually make money from your handmade business, you need to track three things properly. Those are the most important things, so I recommend you really listen in. First one is material costs. You know that little bag that you put your candles in? Yeah, that costs. It might be 10 cents or 12 cents, but it costs money. And you need to count that in. So, exactly what goes into each product? That's not even thinking about your time. It's just materials. Like, that's easy. It's just divide by 20. Okay. Then you want your time per product. So, how long does it realistically take you? Like, if you do 20 candles in a certain amount of time, because I don't want to do math right now, then that will be like 10 minutes a candle. And what is that in like money that you pay yourself? You need to look after yourself too. And then number three is sales and fees. So, what do you actually receive after selling? So, you go to a market, you pay $50 to set up a stall. Okay. And then after those $50, that's $50 in fees. So, let's say you sell 20 candles for $20 each because Jessica is selling them for 25. So, what's that in profit afterwards, okay? Plus, you have to travel there, so that's like fuel, all right? So, once you have all those things, everything changes. You stop guessing, finally, and you start making decisions based on real numbers. So then you can actually start, scaling properly and knowing if you can charge a bit more, charge a bit less. Maybe you can charge $15 per candle. And that's like a lot of people would get that, you know? Or maybe you can charge 25 or $30 per candle. And people would probably also get that. So don't sell yourself short. So you can technically do this with spreadsheets, but they don't scale and it's so messy. And it takes you hours to make those spreadsheets. Why do you want to spend hours making a spreadsheet that will break? Okay. But honestly, most people stick with them just because everyone else is doing it and there's no clear system. That's why this video is about having a system. So it does get really messy fast. And if you've worked with spreadsheets, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, and you're very convinced that you can make do, then you just do it and come back to me later. But that's also why I've built a tool specifically for handmade sellers. Stay with me, okay? So you can track materials, tie them to products, and track your sales and profits. And you can also factor in your time. So, but even if you don't use it, because I understand, the key is that you need some kind of a system that doesn't get messy and you just want to kind of not use it, because spreadsheets, I don't want to use them. Very messy. But once you understand your numbers, you can confidently price your products and not feel bad about it because a lot of people feel bad about it. And you know which products are actually making your profit and which ones you're selling the most so you can make more profit. And you stop feeling like you're working all the time for absolutely nothing. If you do want, I will link the tools below in the description. You can try it and see if it helps. And I'm also going to be making more videos, breaking things down like pricing, costs. I will also be going to markets to interview some sellers and how to actually run a profitable handmade business because it's very hard. No one paved the way. If that's what you're trying to build, subscribe. I think I'll really help you. And for now, I'll see you in the next video.